Okay. I will call the meeting to order. Its agenda, date, time, and location were properly announced. We have Rini online tonight. And did you find out anything about voting? Or is it just?
I think,
I don't think we have anything that's going to be a big deal.
I don't think so either. I think Rini will abstain from voting. I didn't get to that today. But you can be part of all the discussions, okay?
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we will start with the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, May 17th, 2021, the special meeting of May 20th, 2021, and the May 24th, 2021 board retreat. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Matt, is there a second?
Second.
Brian, any questions, corrections? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have notifications of donations.
First, thank you to Mrs. Harrigan, our elementary school counselor, put in for SEL, stands for Social Emotional Learning, just ways to connect with our students that have social emotional. So she got $1,000, and then we have 2 teachers that through Donors Choose got their classrooms, got some other equipment for their classrooms. So thank you to Mrs. Bacher and Mrs. Schultz for taking the time to go through Donors Choose.
Excellent. Any questions? All right, next we have payment of bills. Is there a motion to approve the transactions for the month of May in the amount of $1,167,857.14?
I'll make that motion.
Chuck, is there a second?
Second.
Brian, any questions or discussion?
I had a question, just wondering about the laptops and the playground equipment. Was that through a grant? Was there special funding for that?
Laptops were bought after looking at our budget. What's that? Oh, it was using ESSER funds. We were able to buy laptops this year. So that was part of the CARES money that we used for this year. And the playground equipment was, our childcare had extra funds because of ESSER and because of ESSER 2.
No, they had 2 grants.
Oh, 2 grants. Okay. 2 grants, and then we bought the playground equipment. If you've driven by, it probably haven't updated that playground equipment in quite some time, so you will actually see new fencing, new playground equipment, and something that's multi-age for students of all different sizes and ages. So we're really excited for those upgrades in the daycare, in Rams Care.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And the cash summary?
I didn't have any questions. I mean, everything is pretty self-explanatory. Nothing to really point out. Any questions on the cash summary at all?
I was just wondering if, and I tread lightly when I ask this, is there any way to put like a prior year on there and then a monthly average of that and then a year to date? Because for me, looking at this, it's like
No comparative data to
Right.
go again?
not
Yep.
not very meaningful.
So I know we did that for these 2 gentlemen, the first couple years just to get some comparative data. So I'm looking at Patty on that. How much,
Can we start that maybe not till November? Can I get through my audit first?
Yeah.
And then I can do that? It would take a lot of extra time. Because these are records aren't saved, it's just I rewrite over them.
Oh,
But I have to be going through every,
okay. Yeah, I don't want to.
Because this is just a summary of what we get quarterly.
month. This isn't every month. This is what
Right,
we
but
get.
I'm saying that's what this is, but what we get, don't you go over
I do quarterly, yeah. You're
that
gonna get-
has,
Yeah, we'll get the quarterly ones and that probably will be on next month's agenda.
I think so.
so we
I
do
do
get
get
the
the
quarterly, this is just what's happening. currently
do,
right now.
I do a quarterly breakdown that's a little bit more detailed, and you'll see, then you can see the difference between the 2 years.
Okay.
So I can forward those to you if you'd like to see the last, this past year.
Sure.
I will do that.
Well, we take a look, and then if we want something different, let us know. You know, like, because this one's really so you get to see every check we write, and this one is just a summary of, hey, here's where we stand right now. But then this doesn't have a lot of comparative data. We'll do that, and if that's not enough, we did that for about your first year, wasn't it? Where we kind of said where the budget, what percent we've spent up to that time. If that just kind of helps you get a kind of cadence of where we're spending.
But we did make those changes on the quarterly ones though.
Yeah,
That-
quarterly
Yeah.
ones just-
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so we do have that quarterly.
So we'll take a look at that, and then we'll decide if we want more from there. Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the cash summary? All right, and comments from the public? Gary, you're the only one. Okay, didn't sign up, doesn't have anything to say. Building reports.
Yeah, I'll start off with the strong classrooms. A huge thank you to every single teacher, every single student, every single parent, every custodian, every administrator, every board member. We put 2021 behind us.
Woo-hoo.
Marked ourselves safe. Believe it or not, summer school has already begun. The first week is in the books already. It is on Monday through Thursday. It'll be this week, next week, and I believe there's a week off, and then there's 2 weeks in July and a short time off, and then another week prior to in-service as jumpstart. So if you or any of your friends still want to register your children for summer school, there are still spots available. The more the merrier.
So are there a lot of kids that didn't participate because of masks?
I don't have those numbers. I am not the summer school principal, but it would be principal, so just say
Yeah.
Because there was no makeup? Correct.
How are our numbers compared to other years? Do we know?
Good. Our
Yeah,
numbers are very good. I'm trying to think of what, yeah,
it's
200 something, it's pretty close
Pretty close to
what
what
our
And there-
regular numbers are.
I think Darren told me that there were also some that registered that first week of summer school, like, oh, I don't want to go to summer school, and then they see the buses drive by and they, oh, I want summer school.
Yeah.
So,
And I
don't register.
And I think that, from them talking this morning, our second session is even a little bit more from our first session. So, but pretty much on par with
About
our
comparable.
Well, that's good to know.
On par with 2 years ago.
2 years.
2 years, yeah, that's right.
Our typical summer school.
Yeah. The most important bullet under strong classrooms is our AGR report, and I am so sorry that that is so wordy and long, but that is something that the DPI requires. We are, especially for those of you that are new to the board, we belong to a grant from the Department of Public Instruction that used to be called SAGE, which is now called AGR, which is Academic Achievement Guarantee.
Achievement gap
Achievement
reduction.
gap reduction.
Yep.
See, even the vegetable, the alphabet soup gets lost in my head. Achievement gap reduction means that, we get additional money from the state to help keep our class sizes in kindergarten, first, second, and third grade as low as we can. Their goal is to have it 18 or less. We do have a couple of grade levels that have exceeded 18, but they do provide us with an avenue using our instructional coaches who will spend more time in those classes that have exceeded 18 to 1. And we have to keep track. We do our exact math screening 3 times a year. That is our baseline data in September, that's our mid-year in January, and that's our end of the year mark in June, for us in May this year. And basically what you see on that excessively lengthy report is what is our plan, how do we plan to measure it, how was our base data, what did the data look like in January, and what did the data look like in May? And it needs to go kindergarten for reading and math, first grade for reading and math, second grade for reading and math, third grade for reading and math. But if you look all the way over to the most right-hand column, that is our May data. and it is phenomenal. Our kids did so. I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but I'm almost sad that we aren't going to have forward exam data to compare this to as far as comparing ourselves to others. Because if our kids did this well on our internal data, I am certain that they did well on their forward exams as well. But
Especially we're allowed to, we're built to have low class sizes in a lot of our classes.
it's a 5-year grant. a renewable grant, and I did reapply for another 5 years, and we were approved. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's about $180,000 this year-ish.
So when did this first 5 years expire? This year or?
Actually, we've been in it as long as I've been here. So I inherited Sage Schools when I came 19 years ago. Started 19 years ago. I have renewed it. This is the fourth time I renewed it. So, you know, we would not qualify under their initial criteria to get in it now. So we continue to be grandfathered in for 5-year intervals. So as long as we can ride that, I'm going to continue to ride that. Fill out this lovely form and share it with you 2 times a year.
And, you know, this is back, so you said they're 5 years. So 5 years ago, actually, there was a lot of districts decided not to go with SAGE and AGR because they were looking at the numbers and saying, well, it's actually more beneficial for me to put 30 kids in a classroom than it is to pay and stay at the SAGE/AGR numbers. So this board, Sandy, before decided to stay with it, and it's been a really great investment for our district to continue. It wasn't about chasing that dollar, because if AGL probably costs us a little bit more. If we were to put 27 students in first and second grade, it may be cheaper than the $186,000 we get, but the benefits are greater. So I think that was 5 years ago when a lot of districts went away from it.
That's when it went from 15 to 1.
Oh,
Hardcore 15 to 1 to 18 to 1. With the caveat that we're able to use instructional coaches. So that's when a lot of schools dropped out of it because they're like, you know.
And we're always safely in that number.
The highest we've had in the past 3 years is 22 to 1. But that was after our third Friday count. The official numbers for AGR are based on our third Friday counts. And we've been at 2021 in a couple of classrooms and a couple of grade levels. But as kids come in after that, it's not like we have to peel off and form in kindergarten classroom, like we jump up to 23. What we do is we put our instructional coaches in more, and we make sure that they have more of that time, so we can still do as much individual instruction.
So the money is spent by putting more instructors in a room.
It offsets the cost of the instructors that we have and allows our instructional coaches to spend more time in the classes that have exceeded it.
What would typically be the threshold number of students where you, instead of using an instructor, you'd have another teacher in another class size? Is there a set number, or is it
There's
just kind of
not a
like?
set
Oh.
number. I know my
It depends.
spidey senses get tingly, but
It depends if there are 2 teachers in that grade or 3 teachers in that grade, because 3 teachers in the grade at 23, now you can actually, so it kind of depends on how many teachers are in the grade from there. And
yeah, and you kind of have to follow the books and models of the for graduating.
Rainey has a question.
go ahead, Rainey.
So it looks like it ends at 3rd grade. Is that correct? And is this something that could continue through middle school?
Can you hear me, Rainey?
What was that?
Yeah, I don't think she can hear
Okay.
from because of where the direction is.
This has always been a K-3 program.
Yeah, good.
Always been a K-3 program.
Can you hear me there?
It's always been a K-3 program. I've been a part of it. We have hit a couple of times where, because 4th grade is not a part of it, we can have our 4th grades grow a little bit. And parents kind of got, back when it was 15 to 1 solid, you know, don't go above 15. And it wound up being 18 to 20 in a 4th grade class, because we would shrink from 3 to 2, or we would pick up kids and not hire another person. But it is not funded beyond third grade, never was, never will be. And the research behind it comes out of a Tennessee Star report, which talks about getting this bang for your buck and prior to, well, from kindergarten to third grade.
Well, and it fits with what you said earlier, as far as our students, the longer they've been in school, the better they did or excelled academically. So if we give
Or
them.
the less impact they had from not being in a traditional learning environment. Yeah, it dinged our little kids harder than it did our eighth graders, for example.
Right.
But they bounced back very good.
And we obviously don't turn students away, admissions away because of this.
Correct. I spend a lot of time during the summer monitoring our numbers. I go, oh, we're getting a little high
You have
here.
multiple conversations every week, how
Yep.
are our numbers, and just kind of,
Yep.
no, we have some parent visits already. You said you had a couple scheduled for this week,
I have one tour
so.
today, I have another tour on Thursday. If we get all of them, that'll be 5 more elementary kids.
Well, and then you move teachers around as needed, depending on.
Right.
We'll stay posted.
All right, so next on the fifth grade is our strong culture, and it's really just about how we wrapped up the end of the school year. The senior parade, and working with Agr Report, we mapped out a new parade route, which we felt was really a neat experience. We had
And the weather participants.
Yeah, I know, and thank God for the good weather that day. We had a tunnel out here outside. So it was a combination of outside and inside tunnel with the kids, and we really see the potential now to want to invite parents to be part of our outside tunnel and things like that. And the seniors too, some of them shared that they really enjoyed the parade route that we did this year. So that's something that will continue with that. Middle school triathlon, of course, hotter than heck day the day before, winter the next day, and that's when we had it. And the kickball tournament, but the show must go on, and so we did it anyways, and they had a lot of fun. Regardless, I think kids are impervious to cold, but unlike the adults, we're all like, let's get back. But it was a good time for both the fifth and sixth grade with their kickball tournament, and then seventh and eighth grade with the triathlon, and then elementary had their field day on a gorgeous day. So Ann Averill organized both the middle school triathlon and the elementary field day. Did a phenomenal job with both of those, and a lot of fun with that there. And then celebration of staff milestones. So we like to end the year with celebrating staff. So our very last day of school, when it's a half day for kids, the staff met together. We have a little lunch. And then Mike leads us in just recognizing all of our employees with 10-year, 15-year, 20-year plus recognition.
32 year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then also celebrating then those who are retiring. And so we wrapped up really with a nice celebration in the Friday.
And we have a returning strong connection to community. We were very leery about field trips this year and tried to stick to mainly outdoor field trips. But in the last month of school, we were able to visit some of our local places. Like our DC kids went to the pizzeria, and they were making their pizzas. And just a great experience. I mean, it's nice to be able to walk to some of the places in our community, weather permitting, going to the historical society, going to the Novak House, taking a culminating tour. Like third grade, for example, studies a lot about random length in the community, and so they were able to go out and visit and see different places, and it was really great to be able to do that. Our own buses, yay! We made that really awesome.
And then I didn't get it in here because I didn't know until Friday that we have several students going on for state in track. And so I just wanted to do shout outs for them. Our girls 1600 meter relay, Riley Schoeneman, Jillian Yonke, Haley Wittenberg, and then Hallie Van Horn. Phenomenal job. The time, I think they took, and you probably know, Matt, 2 seconds, wasn't it, off of their time from regional to sectional?
I think it was 7.
I've heard
7 seconds?
multiple.
I was talking with Trina, and I couldn't
Wow.
remember, but yeah, it was an incredible run. And then Hallie Van Horn is also going on to state in the 800, as well as the 1600. And then Blake Bieber, he's going on in the 1600. McKenna Armstrong, high jump and triple jump, and Shane Rescorla in the 400. So looking forward to what they do at state, and that is the 24th through the 26th this week. They'll be in lacrosse for state. So
And
well done to them.
I was talking to Coach Olson today, and this is the largest group we've taken in quite some time. And so yes, so
Yeah.
good tribute to the hardworking
Two
students. What's that? Two bands. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Board committee reports, administrative and support staff. Who'd you guys decide was chair?
That is, we discussed administrative and support staff compensation benefit packages.
And they're on the agenda
And
later.
it'll be on the agenda later, yep.
Great. And then we also had budget.
And budget is Matt. No, it's Brian. Can't even read my grid.
We met and I believe we we do have something on.
Board action later on.
Yeah, I believe we do.
Yeah,
we
the
do.
substitute.
Yep.
Great. Next, we have the administrative contracts, which you were just talking about. So is there a motion to approve the administrative contracts with the 1.5% increase?
So moved.
Chuck, is there a second?
I'll second.
Matt, any questions or discussion?
I just have a question about the transportation director, Mike. So you also have, Rachel, also as a transportation director, or? I don't know if it's the same.
She's the manager, so she takes care of the bus drivers and the routes and things like that. For the director was, getting the buses, some of the other things. So it's kind of a tag team that we do with that.
And then you hire staff as well, or?
We work together. So her and I are kind of, she does the day-to-day. I do a lot of we do the budgeting, things like that together. So.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we have notification of hourly staff base wage schedule. And we do have an enclosure on that. That's a 1.5% increase too across the board. And then we have the salaried staff compensation, again, a 1.5% increase across the board, which that's CPI, right?
It's
So-
yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions on those? Those are just notifications.
They get that pretty much every year, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the
Whatever
it's
CPI
not
is,
necessarily
yeah.
1.5%, but
Oh.
And I think, CPI was 1.3, what was it, 2.3? So it's a little bit above CPI to be, but it was a nice round number close to
Yeah.
CPI.
okay. Substitute teacher pay, which Brian, you were talking about. Is that a motion to approve to continue the substitute teacher pay at $125 per day?
So moved, yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Matt, any questions or discussion?
Just what
I
did
just
it
have a
increase?
question about, is it still the plan next year to have one substitute, but several classes in a room together? Obviously, we couldn't do it this year with COVID.
So that is, I guess, Susan, how do you want to, I'll let you answer that one since it really hits the high school the most.
Yeah, the plan is to try to work to be efficient and consolidate, but probably no more than 2 classes, just because one person for that many kids, would be great. But also then the teachers, because they've got all of their lessons already on Schoology, we'd be utilizing Schoology then where the kids would be getting their work for the day and the teachers would have all the resources and the directions there. And so then the substitute would just need to really be for supervision again.
And we have a
Thank
room,
you.
we have a room identified for that already for next year, right?
Yes,
And what room is that?
we're gonna be utilizing part of the library for
Okay.
that.
Okay, good.
Because then it's a nice open space. Because it was originally gonna be Rick Sampson's old room, right over here by the auditorium, but that's gonna be the new site for the LPC, classroom for the nursing program.
Chuck, did you have a question on that, or?
No.
That's good.
That's, yep.
All right.
If any of you know anybody who wants to become a substitute.
Looking, always.
So, do we have a motion on the floor? Yeah, it was, Brian and Matt.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have another notification of support staff, substitute pay. There's a little bit of an increase on each of these. Aides, $3 an hour, food service and daycare, $1.50 an hour. Just trying to keep our people. Which seems like everybody's trying to do. Professional staff resignations. Is there a motion to approve with thanks Nathan Ernest's resignation of 10 years of service? Brian, is there a second? Amy, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we have some new staff. We have a elementary, middle school Phi-Ed teacher, Jennifer Charles. Middle school special education teacher, Cynthia Whittish. And an ID special education teacher. Is that Elise? Elise Sandow? Is there a motion to approve? Chris, is there a second?
I'll second.
Brian, any questions or discussion?
Regarding Jennifer Tross, is that any relation to any other?
No, yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, no relation.
He said if it's distant and he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Is there any other open positions that we have?
Right now, we have tech ed for Mr. Ernest's spot open, and there is also sixth grade and then another one that is
One
moving.
more special education.
Yeah.
Which we are in the process of finding.
It's been a busy year between retirements and then some of the, but really, for all, some good staff, we really, there's some good staff that are applying for jobs, so we've been very fortunate.
Just out of curiosity, like for a special education position, how many people are involved in that interview process? And is it ultimately your decision or is it your decision or?
Yeah, so for these positions in middle school, I had middle school teacher as well as the counselor, and then myself. Mike happened to be out of town, so he was unable to be a part of those, but normally he would be as well, given special ed director. And then I had one of the assistants that on the team as well, so a special education assistant was also on the team.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have notification of a salaried staff. Sheila Fighter, school psychologist. Is there, we don't need to make a motion, but thank you very much for the 10 years of service. Another long one there.
Yeah.
And then new support staff, Alex Zamora, IT assistant. Is this is a
That'll be
new-
working, that'll be, if you remember with the partnership that we have with Lakeland University, We had our, and I'm Samaje. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
so Samaje will be moving on in,
And in the middle of August, so you guys will get notification on his resignation.
and then Alex is our new student from Lakeland. I think Lee's done a fantastic job. We, have students that come in with these skill sets. Samaje was fantastic. I mean, for the experience he got and the things he was able to give us, it's a great partnership with Lakeland. And, we try so hard as a district, especially for our high school students, to get connected to the community. We need to connect back with these students and do that. So I think it's a really, good compliment to both of us. It helps us. It helps them, and I'm hoping Alex is half as successful as Samaje, because for our first time around it went very well. And tribute to Lee, because Lee has to kind of coach him up and get him ready, and you have individuals that are 22, 23 years old, and Alex looks like just quality, so
Right.
really good with that.
And then we're into informational items.
Okay, a couple of
that's back to you.
things. I had the legislative update this morning. If you've been watching, there's been a lot of battles back and forth with the state budget. Really, I think they were in our meeting this morning. They were very transparent. There wasn't a lot of appetite to give schools more money with all the federal money that went to schools. So the budget that's being proposed to the governor is really more about tax relief than it is about schools. I will say, and my pushback to that is the federal piece of it, we have enough to move forward. I think Patty, we have a balanced budget looking forward. I'm just worried in 2 years, when this federal money is gone, are they going to make up for 4 years worth of this kind of inflation? We know we're going into some pretty heavy inflationary years, and now you're saying you're going to make up for that in 2 years from now. They're saying yes, but we'll see what happens in 2 years. So they are putting somewhere close to $1 billion into the rainy day fund. So we'll see how that goes. The positive note is they are expanding Sparsky aid. If it gets passed through the budget, we were always close to that 745 students. We always had a couple more, so we didn't get the $300 per student. This budget has any district between 745 and 1,000 students will get $100 more per student. So lucky for us, even though most districts aren't seeing an increase, we'll see an increase. That's pretty standard. $100 per year is pretty standard. So that'll help us get through this. And I think our fiscal responsibility has been paying down structural debt, doing the things that we need to. So it was disappointing, but it was, at least they were open and honest, and it was a good conversation this morning. Board retreat, I just want to thank you all again for a really good conversation. I feel like we have good direction going forward. And this last month, there was a lot of meetings. I mean, we had 3 meetings in a month, so thank you for your time on that. And then the last piece with the community recreation coordinator update. We still have some things. We were in basketball interviews today. There's some things coming together. We're struggling to get some coaches, and I think Dave and Jim and everyone else, we're really trying to do everything we can to pull those groups together. So everyone's having trouble with the staffing piece. I think it's not just a school thing, but luckily we have a good group that's kind of hitting every bush and trying to do everything possible. So there'll be more updates as we keep going.
How close are we to that varsity aid level? It's like if we set up to 1,000 students.
So next year, right now, we were projecting pretty close to that 745 for next year, which would have put us at like $300 per student. But then we hear, we have 5 students coming and doing tours. So there was a good chance that we were going to end up somewhere around like 750, 760. And I'd be like, oh, yeah. So the nice thing is I would like the problem of having 800, students, have all these students come in and still have that $100 from there. So it's actually it's kind of a win-win for us because we want to see more students here. We want to, that helps in so many other areas. I'd rather stay under 1,000 now would be our goal, and then we'll worry about that later. So yeah, under 745, I think is $300 per student. Over 745 to 1,000 is $100 per student. And it's not signed yet, but I don't see that getting vetoed, but who knows anymore in politics.
Okay, any questions for Mike? Are you gonna give us something else?
That's it.
That's it, all right. So we do have a closed session on tonight. Is there a motion to go into closed session as permitted under Wisconsin State Statutes, Chapter 19, Section 1985, 1C, to discuss personnel and staffing matters?
So moved.
Chuck, is there a second?
Second.
Matt, this requires a roll call vote. Brian?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Matt?
Yes.
I vote yes. Amy?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
All right, we are in closed session. Oh, Rainey, are you gonna come to closed session? All right, we are in closed session. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We won't be taking any action after closed session. So,
Thank you.